I used to think that all I needed to do to lose fat, get muscle is to shout out gains while shoving down a burrito bowl. Now I'm more mature, I know that's not it. The internet is full of influencers on showcasing weight loss recipes. Every single one of them claims to taste just like a real pizza, chocolate cake, ice cream. Then you click on it and it's this. So today we're taking a look at the most critically acclaimed anabolic recipes on the internet, and instead of rating them 1 through 10, we'll rate them on how similar they are to the real deal, all based on how we feel.
How you feel, how you feel, how you feel? 25 sitting on 25 mil.
The first recipe is a high protein, low calorie burger from the man Papa himself.
Look at that. These are the macros. Let me tell you something. You've been dieting for 7 months, it tastes like the real deal.
You know, that actually does look like the real deal, especially the sauce. I'm very intrigued by it. Starting with handling our balls, we'll just prepare the regular elements of a burger. This meat is 95% lean, but to me they're just mushed up meat. I've never been able to taste the difference in fat distribution. And a brand new jar of pickles. This is when I demonstrate my gym progress. And a couple of thin slices, and can I just for once get a non-moldy tomato for a video? I'm not even doing this on purpose. I feel like tomatoes just catches mold when they enter my house, just like how my ex-girlfriend catches STD. The best part of this recipe is definitely this sauce, which is 30 grams of light mayo, 30 grams of sriracha, and 40 grams of mustard. Then we'll season the patties. Flip. The non-stick pan makes it so much easier to sear a burger and toast the bun. With the minimal oil so far, we'll also add on top a low-fat piece of cheddar cheese. With another piece of patty on top, just heat it till it melts. Following the standard production line of assembly of a burger, without the lettuce I guess, we gotta sauce both buns, patty, tomato, a little bit of salt, and pickles. I guess the elements that Papa switched out to make anabolic is the very lean meat and the low-calorie sauce. Looks very legit, so let's give it a taste and rate on similarity 1 through 100%. I think it's been so long since I had a burger by choice, I honestly can't tell what's the difference between this and a normal burger from 7th Street. Except that this one actually makes me crave a second one. Usually the greasiness and the mayo makes you sick halfway through, but this one's actually very balanced. Very good overall, maybe just a little bit less satisfying, so I'm gonna give it a 90%. After a burger, my second biggest craving on a diet would be chicken nuggets.
If you love McDonald's but you're trying to lose weight, these crispy chicken nuggets pack over double the protein of what you get in the restaurant. To your lean ground chicken, add these seasonings.
Lean ground chicken. Is there fat ground chicken? But anyways, look how good these look, straight out of McDonald's. To my food processor, I'm gonna add 500 grams of lean chicken breast, salt, pepper, garlic, onion, and some cayenne seasoning. Grate a little bit of Parmesan cheese and a whole egg. And for the dip, we'll do some egg whites followed with some Frank's Red Hot. I realized cornflakes is like the #1 go-to ingredient for these anabolic fried stuff. Dip it in the egg white and then coat it in cornflakes. Not a single drop of fat introduced yet. And if you have an air fryer, that's 400 degrees for 5 minutes. And if you're using an oven, that's just 400 degrees convection for 8 minutes. And the only oil we're using for this recipe is the one that I'm spraying on top. From the feeling I'm getting with my fingertips, I'm gonna make the prediction that this is gonna be on the dry side. While the usage of spit to make meat go down easier is very demanding over here. This is pretty much a level 1 choking hazard and not in a way that I enjoy. But if you want a meat that's lean, mean, and works your jaw, maybe give this a try. But to McDonald's, this is a 60% similarity. Eating these healthy recipes is a great way to improve our physical health, and to work on our mental health, therapy could lead to great results. Let me introduce you to today's sponsor, BetterHelp. As many of you know, I've been fairly stressed for the past few months preparing for school applications, largely because I wasn't the best student back in undergrad and have never been particularly strong at standardized testing. I can't help but feel like my academic past is holding me back from the future I envision for myself. The anxiety coupled with the long waiting period has left me feeling overwhelmed. That's when I realized that it's okay to ask for help. BetterHelp is an approachable way to start your first session of therapy. The app is easy to navigate and it helps connect you to the right therapist based on your personalized needs. classmates. In most cases, you'll usually get matched within 48 hours after filling out the questionnaire. You're able to choose the format most convenient for you. For example, if you're uncomfortable showing your face through an online video chat, you could go with the text or call options. Even if you don't feel like it's the right fit, you have access to over 30,000 therapists that you can switch to with no additional cost. If you think therapy might benefit your mental health, click this link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/FutureCanoe or choose FutureCanoe during sign up. You'll get a special discount off your first month of therapy if you do. Mac and cheese has got to be everybody's weakness because there's nothing anabolic about it. The cheese, the carbs, the breadcrumbs. The only low-calorie item here is the parsley on top. That's why for the purpose of this recipe, we're gonna have to have a side of chicken breast. To marinate it, we'll do the usual salt, pepper, onion, garlic, Cajun, and a little bit of olive oil. After mixing together, we'll start heating 1 tablespoon of butter in a pan. Start frying these chicken up on medium-low. We'll have to place it individually in to space it apart. That's actually whatever, just cook them until they're done. To that we'll add in garlic, chili flakes, another tablespoon of butter, and a tablespoon of honey. Once the sauce gets a little bit thicker, we'll take it out, and immediately in the same pan we'll go in 1/4 cup of skim milk, more garlic, and 1/4 of a block of light cream cheese. Put some of that same seasoning as before, mix everything together, and finish it with 2 ounces of light cheddar or light mozzarella. This is when the sauce gets thick, so we'll introduce our pasta. You can use like one of those healthier, lower carb option pasta, but I'm just using normal rigatoni. Placing the chicken on the side, this is what's gonna carry our macros for this dish. Kinda reminds me of my high school cafeteria, without the bullying and social isolation, of course. Okay, I don't think it tastes like mac and cheese per se, but it's a very well executed white sauce rigatoni, and it doesn't taste anabolically compromised in any way. So if it's just an average pasta, I'll give it 100%, but for mac and cheese, I'm gonna have to go with 70%.
If you love chicken sandwiches but you're trying to lose weight, this crispy buffalo chicken sandwich packs 41 grams of protein.
It's the same guy from the chicken nugget thing earlier. All his recipes look straight out of fast food chains. This one looks like Chick-fil-A. So getting back out our radioactive chicken, we're gonna deal with chicken a lot for this video. Taking a larger than usual piece of breast and slice it into like a biteable piece, and just repeat the same coating procedure from the chicken nuggets. In the video, he pounded the chicken with a meat pounder. You really don't need that. I always just pound meat with my hand. That's how I've been doing for all of high school. Gotta believe in your fist against the meat. Spray oil on both sides into the air fryer at 375 for 12 minutes or in the oven at 400 for 16 minutes. For the buffalo honey glaze, I don't really feel like going back to the stovetop to heat it up, so I'm just gonna mix Frank's Red Hot with honey straight up. Pour it all over on top, garnish with some pickles, and our fried chicken sandwich is ready. It looks like a McChicken with extra large chicken patty. Seems pretty juicy, so let's give it a taste and rate it 1 to 100%. Another choking hazard here, I think the problem is not the chicken, is the cornflakes, dude. It just soaks up all the spit and makes it really hard to chew. It has all the flavors of a buffalo chicken sandwich, it's just the mouthfeel is a little questionable. And for that, we're gonna give it a 50%.
If you don't have a lot of time in the mornings but looking for a delicious and easy high protein snack, these breakfast hot pockets are only 300 calories with 32 grams of protein and perfect for meal prep.
So this is like a 8-portion recipe, which I'm gonna quarter it. First, I don't really believe in meal prep. Like, why would you eat 7-day-old food, you know what I mean? Also, I feel like I get tired of eating something 2 days in a row. So to 200 grams of flour, we'll add a teaspoon of baking powder, as well as 210 grams of low-fat yogurt. However, in my grocery store, I was only able to find the zero-fat yogurt. So to make up for the fat, I'm gonna add a little bit of olive oil. This dough is gonna be quite interesting. I don't trust it too much because I never made a dough with just straight-up yogurt and no liquid at all. Once it's sort of coming together, we'll put on a lid and let it rest for an hour. Then to a little bit of oil in a hot pan, we'll fry up some diced turkey bacon. I'm a little suspicious of this product because I feel like it's neither bacon or turkey. It tastes straight up just like sliced ham. After taking out the sus bacon, we're gonna pour the eggs straight into the pan and just push the eggs towards the center while tilting it to slowly cook it, ensuring it's fluffy and stuff. The dough is pretty dry, so don't worry about it sticking to anything. Once it's flat, we'll lay down some low-fat mozzarella and the ingredients we just cooked up. While folding in the fillings, we're gonna grab the edges and just like pinch them together. Kinda like an empanada without the braids at the end. Also, I noticed there's some air trapped inside it. Just press on it a little bit to make it fart it out. On medium heat, just a tiny bit of oil will sear both sides, covered for 5 minutes each. A tiny bit of cheese pull is not bad. It's really hot though, so much crispier than I expected. You know, I have to be honest, I had really low hope for this one because the dough had like zero fat Greek yogurt and stuff. But this is surprisingly my favorite dish so far. The dough is very flavorful and the filling actually tastes like a Hot Pocket, but with fresher ingredients. A Hot Pocket is always a desperate attempt to cure my high school after school hunger, but I eat this even when I'm not starving. So this is definitely better than the real deal. So I'm gonna give it a 9.3 out of 10. Inspired by the previous breakfast Hot Pocket, here we are attempting another recipe from the same creator called the Pizza Pocket. Starting with everybody's favorite topping, the pepperoni, we have diced it into these quarter circles and no oil into the pan to extract some of that pepperoni grease oil. At this point, they should be pretty crispy. Looking at this, it's giving me the feeling that pepperoni might be worse for your health than bacon. This grease is still in the pan. We'll drop in some of that extra lean meat from earlier and fry it up in that red oil. Salt, pepper, garlic, Italian seasoning, which is just oregano, and some light cream cheese, hot sauce. I'm using some marinara sauce to mix together, and finally some Parmesan cheese to complete the flavor profile. Adding back in the crispy pepperoni, that will be our filling for the pocket. I'm taking one large piece of tortilla, cut it in half, also made this little flour and water thing, acting as a pathetic glue to hold it together, much like what I was trying to do for my parents' marriage. Shape the half tortilla, I guess it's a tortilla, into a cone and fill it with the mixture from before. Closing the triangle with more of that glue, seal it using the Ligma fork with the black stuff on it. With the oven at 400, top it with some more Parmesan and bake it for 8 to 10 minutes until the top is golden brown. As always, we've got to cut it through to see the cross section. Never mind, you can see it from the corner here. Let's give it a taste and rate it 1 to 100%. Usually, I always forget to put salt in something, but this time I actually remembered. Turned out to be a pretty bad idea because the pepperoni is salty, cream cheese super salty, marinara had salt in it, and Parmesan cheese is basically sodium, you know. It's more of a dehydration pocket. The flavors are really good though. Similarity to Pizza Pocket, I'm gonna give it a 70%. Okay, this next one is a butter chicken, but we're gonna see very minimal butter in this recipe. This is a large onion, just roughly chop it because we're gonna blend it later. And 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, I don't have that, so 4 tablespoons of marinara sauce. Some ginger garlic paste, we'll give that some color and fry it up a little bit on medium heat. Once we see some color, we'll lower the heat and start adding our spices. In the video, these are the spices that he asked for. Can you make the font harder to read, please? Since we still have a bunch left over from the butter chicken video, I'm gonna use some authentic spice mix. 1.5 tablespoons of Kashmiri, 1 tablespoon of garam masala, 1 teaspoon of coriander, 1 teaspoon of cumin, and that's pretty much it. I don't think I want to add the whole spices, like picking it out later and stuff. So that's a whole diced tomato. We'll just bring it to sort of a simmer and blend it up. I'm gonna do it off camera. We'll pour the gravy back into the pan. This is the last bit of butter we're going to use for the entire recipe. Season with salt and pepper. Is there black pepper in butter chicken? And for the health purposes, we'll just straight up put chicken breast into the gravy, like mix that up together, put on a lid. In the video, it's done in a slow cooker. I don't have a slow cooker at home, but I am the slow cooker. So with the lid on, we're going to put it into a 250-degree oven for 2 hours. It's actually smelling really good, and for the creaminess, instead of the cashew butter, we're gonna put in low-fat Greek yogurt. And because I have a little bit left, I'm gonna add in some low-fat cream cheese as well. I feel like cream cheese is never the wrong answer to add into anything. Once everything is mixed up, we'll put chives on top, and surprisingly, the chicken is pretty tender. I thought it was gonna be rubbery, but it has this like pull-apart braised texture. Maybe it's because, you know, I'm not an expert in Indian cuisine, but this tastes better than 80% of these Indian takeouts I've been getting in New York City. The only thing missing, I'd say, is a little bit of that richness from the nuts. But other than that, this hits all the spots a butter chicken is supposed to hit. I guess going to that spice store, getting all these authentic spice mix from India really like does the job. I'm gonna give this a 95%. This is definitely my new favorite of the episode so far. You know, my friends have issues with the way I peel a banana. They're always like, oh, you should peel it from the end because like that's how monkeys do it, from the bottom. What I like to say to them is, we're not monkeys and I do whatever I want. So that's 2 smashed up banana. How can we step into the realm of protein dessert without making a protein brownie recipe? With that, we're gonna do 2 tablespoons of Dutch processed cocoa powder, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and a teaspoon of peanut butter. I don't know why that's in there. And a good quality chocolate flavored protein powder. Let me introduce you to my favorite protein powder. It's Cocoa Pebbles. It tastes just like the cereal, and the macros are insane. 1 gram of fat, 1 gram of carbs, and 25 grams of protein. Crazy. And the most annoying part of any protein powder tub is that when you first open it, the scoop is all the way on the bottom. You have to like fish it out with your hands all covered with protein powder. I'd actually be willing to sacrifice on flavor for a protein powder company that comes up with a mechanism where the protein scoop is like stays on the cap or something. We'll do 2 scoops of that, mix everything together. Make sure you use parchment paper because this stuff is gonna stick. On top, I'm just gonna do a lot of chocolate chip because if anything goes wrong, this is gonna be our only saving grace. We'll do 350 for 15 minutes. I bet if I don't tell you, you can't even tell this is anabolically compromised brownie. So as expected, the best part is definitely the chocolate chip on top. The cake is really airy. Basically, it sucks all your spit again. You need a cup of tea or coffee to finish each bite. I feel like I've tried better protein brownie recipes than this many times before. And in terms of similarity, I'm gonna have to give it a 40%.
Time to dig in. That looks unreal. Whoa.
Alright, this next one looks great and it's a super easy one. To a non-fat yogurt, we're gonna add some dessert MSG and 2 scoops of vanilla protein powder. I don't have vanilla, I only have this pumpkin spice thing. And before you question my rugged masculinity, this is the only one that my grocery store has left. We're gonna complete all the layers in this mason jar. Some graham crackers crumbled on the bottom, slice up some bananas. Try my best to not touch the edges and drop in our protein custard. Repeat the process until you ran out of everything and use a spoon to like push it down a little bit. And the final layer should be graham crackers, and then we'll close the lid, put it in the fridge overnight. We'll have to give it some time to settle into each other. Hopefully the crackers can become softened. It most definitely did not, which is why I'm starting to suspect that this is going to be another dessert that's hard in my throat. Judging from appearance, this is probably the most similar to a real banana pudding, and we have a lot of the same elements like the crackers and the bananas, but the custard is just so different. It's so bad. 20% similarity. Rice Krispie treat was my favorite snack back in high school. I bring one to school every day for lunch, but the bullies kinda just take it like how Phantom collects the taxes. The recipe we're following today looks very promising. We're starting with 148 grams of crispy rice cereal, 192 grams of marshmallow, 50 grams of skim milk, and 28 grams of butter, and 97 grams of protein powder of your choice. I'm going with this pumpkin spice thing again. The milk and butter are the only moist ingredients here. I'm getting a little nervous again. We'll put it on medium heat and kinda just use the butter to melt all the marshmallow with the protein powder together. And just to warn you, this took so long. I think in a total of like more than 20 minutes. We'll pour the mixture on top of the Rice Krispie, and it's getting a little bit wet. Where's the moisture coming from? It was so dried a second ago. We'll layer everything into a greased baking dish. I feel like the Rice Krispie mixture is turning into like an Indian rice pudding. Flatten it out, we'll let it rest in the fridge for at least 4 to 6 hours. Move on to the last recipe of the day. It is a protein cheesecake. I've seen a lot of people rave about this recipe, so I'm pretty excited to make it. Starting with 2 blocks of light cream cheese, 400 grams of non-fat yogurt, and 60 grams of protein, so 2 scoops. Low-fat cream cheese is actually way easier to mix than the full-fat blocks. Then we'll add in 2 eggs, and when the egg mixture hits the cream cheese, like it causes everything to like split, like my dad. It's getting a little hard to mix, so I'm gonna add some milk. Once it looks like a cheesecake batter, we'll put it into a silicone mold. I feel like baking it this way is also gonna help us better portion it out. So we'll do 375 Fahrenheit for 12 minutes. The top part of the end result is gonna be a little cracked. It's not my choice. The original recipe looked like this, so I'm just trying to imitate. I guess if you don't like the look of this, you can just bake it with a hot water bath underneath. Fresh off the oven, is super liquidy. We're gonna have to put it in the fridge for at least 6 hours to overnight. I love baking things in silicone. It's so easy to take things out. I'm gonna put it on a plate though. At the moment, it looks a bit sad. You can't really tell, is this an egg white bite or is it a cheesecake? But just wait 1 sec for my raspberry garnish, and now it looks totally like a New York style cheesecake. Let's give it a taste and rate it 1 through 100%. I have to be honest, all the desserts in this video are pretty trash. This one is the only redeeming one. I guess it's because low-fat cream cheese still tastes good. This tastes super similar to a Basque cheesecake, just a little bit on the dry side, but you know, it's understandable. This is something I actually used to replace the normal cheesecake with minimal remorse, and the similarity score is gonna be 85. There are so many ways to be more fit and live a more anabolic lifestyle, but nothing's gonna bring you the same joy of regular indulgence, which is totally okay to treat yourself once in a while. Like many other things, you just have to be on top of your shit most of the time. Moving on from this topic, I'm looking for some suggestions on kitchen gadgets that you guys find actually useful, preferably the ones that changes my life for the better. If you have something in mind, you can send me a picture or a link to buy through this Google form. I'll link in the description. Alright, thank you.